Hi, Jake from Full Access UTV. Today we're going to be installing the KRX 1000 rear shock mount braces. Now, this is not something that I thought I was personally experiencing. It was actually brought up in a few comments in the videos, and customers calling who have had rear shock mount failure, same as the front. So looked into it. Somebody actually sent a link up to salvage with the rear shock mounts ripped apart. And matter of fact, in the same time frame, I found 6, and I started to realize this is an issue. He was mentioning it was found in the forums. I found it on the forums. So hey, thought why not do the same thing we're doing to the rear? Was actually kind of involved to find and to fix, but we finally got it. We had a bunch of different sample ones we were doing and testing out in people's cars, but in the end, we got a good product. So this should help it out. It's pretty much the same thing in the front. There's not enough material around the shock bolt, so it's pretty much just ripping apart, and the rear shock's coming out, and then the shock jams up and smashes, and it's just bad. So get yourself a little insurance and get our rear shock mount braces, and that's it. So let's go to the product. This is it. This is our rear shock mount kit, and pretty much the tools you need to install it. You got 17mm wrench and nut. That's for your shock mount. You're going to need a big screwdriver for the loom on the driver's side, and then you're going to need 7/16 wrenches to install the new bolts that hold it on. So I will walk you through the process right now and get you set up. Cut open all our hardware. Sucks, we always do all this nice bagging. Girls and the kids do it. Me and all the customers just come out and rip it apart. But that's how it goes. Of course, I didn't cut it far enough. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 of these, and you're going to need 4 nuts and bolts per side. Okay, first step. We're going to get in here, and Wyatt can kind of show you a detailed shot while I'm jacking up the car. We can kind of show you how thin that material is around the shock bolt now and why they're ripping apart. Okay, so what I did is I jacked it up. I got it all the way up until the tire just started to lift off the ground, and then I kind of set it back down. So I'm trying to alleviate all the pressure on the upper bolt. So take a 17mm. Okay, pull that out, and then I'm going to jack it up a little bit more. Just 1 pump. Now, to do the install, you've got to get in there to tighten these little bolts. So the easiest thing to do is to take off the bottom of the shock and pull the shock out of the car. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay. Next step, grab a plate, couple bolts, couple nuts, and oh, I forgot. Let me show you on the driver's side here. So you've got this big wire loom going up the side, and right about here, you're going to see a push clip and a loom tie. What you want to do is take a big screwdriver or something, put it in there, and just pop it out of that hole. So that's pretty straightforward. Next step, you want to take your mount and put it up in there, and it goes just like that. The top bolt is definitely the trickiest one to get to because of the loom. Got that one in. Or was it the bottom? I think it was the bottom was the trickiest one because you gotta fight right past that loom to get it in there. Okay, now I got them both coming through. And you can see how difficult this would be if the shock was still in the car. So you can do it, but I'd save yourself the aggravation. Nope, I already dropped a nut. Save yourself the aggravation and just pull the shock out. Make it a lot easier. Like I said, this side is not easy with the loom there. And we supplied you some fine thread bolts too, so a little trickier to start, but that way they don't come loose. Okay, I got that one started. This is always like the boring part of the video. Again, this one's pretty tricky to do because on the back side, you can't see it, but that loom is trying to fight the direction the bolt's going. So I'm having a hard time getting it started. Especially with the camera right in my face. Okay, so that's that one. So, easiest thing to do is, oh, by the way, here's one thing you can look at here is you can already see how much my holes are already ovaled out. I had no idea until I pulled my car and looked at it, and I was just like, wow. So we have a customer, Bobby. We were actually working on his car one day when we were discussing it with the customers online, and just so happened that we were doing springs and stuff in the rear, and I pulled the bolt and came up and did what I did. His were worse than mine, and you're just like, uh-oh, you know, there's definitely a problem. So just show you that. But so I usually put the bolt back in and take. If you got a gear wrench, it makes it a lot easier, especially with that loom. But pick it up, get it on there. Okay, so that one's almost tight. Now, pulling the bolt back out, this one I have to do the opposite way. This one is right against the tube, and that's why we can't even actually get a washer in there. It's so tight, so. That's why you'll find there's no washers in the kit, because basically there's not any room around the shock, tubes, or anything. Okay, and then before I crank it down, take my bolt again. Make sure it fits through no problem. Really crank them in there. So I know that was boring to watch, but that is the most difficult one in the car. But watch now, I'm going to start another one, and it'll be more difficult. Finding and threading bolts by finger is an art in itself, I tell you. It's something I try to teach my daughters because I don't care what you're doing, it is tricky, and especially when you can't see it. Check it again, and as you can see, I moved it. So, pull down on it a little bit. Okay, now I know I can tighten it. And look at that, like no wiggle. Wrong way. Check it one more time before I put my shock back in. It's good to go. Okay, and as you can see now, this is where you got to slowly lower the vehicle down. So I'm going to see if I can have Wyatt do that. I'll tell you when. Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay, now go up a tiny bit. Yep. Oh, right there, a little tiny bit. Okay. And I've been pretty quiet during this video. Should talk more. Probably pretty boring to watch, but I don't think you guys need to see me finish tightening the last of the bolts in, but that's it. Go to the other side, finish it up. Simple way to make sure that nothing rips out and leaves you stranded, and it's simple, cheap insurance. So again, hit that like and subscribe button. You guys appreciate it, and we'll keep more content coming. Thank you.